Welcome to Open for Business, the Gallatin Valley's only local business and consumer talk show featuring Tom Egelhoff, the Man Entrepreneur magazine radio called the leading authority in the United States for doing business in small town. Here he is, speaker, author, small business consultant, and Mrs. Egelhoff's favorite son, Tom Egelhoff.
All right, welcome everyone. Open for Business. We air every Saturday live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time on AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman, 1340 KPRK in Livingston, Montana. If you'd like to be a part of the big broadcast, go to kmmsam.com and click Listen Live. The call-in number during the show, 406-522-TALK, 406-522-8255. I'm here, you're here. Let's get the show on the road. All right, welcome back, everyone. 92 degrees outside. It's Saturday, July 9th, 2016. It's 25 minutes before the top of the hour. And I want to welcome you to the podcast portion of Open for Business. Each week, I share some tips and tricks I've learned over the years about advertising, marketing, promotion, and building strong, successful businesses. And I do these Open for Business podcasts live every Saturday between 11:30 and noon Mountain Time from the studios of AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman and 1340 KPRK in Livingston, Montana. And, of course, we stream worldwide on the web at kmmsam.com. If you missed any of the previous podcasts, you'll find them on my my YouTube channel, or on my website, smalltownmarketing.com. That's smalltownmarketing.com. Just go about halfway down the homepage on the left side, and you'll find a link to the podcast page so you can catch up on any of my podcasts that you might have missed. Today's topic I want to talk about is a dollar really worth a dollar? What's a dollar worth? That question constantly comes up on this radio show, and it's a question that prompts several answers. All are accurate depending on your point of view. The dollar is worth less, but it's also worth more than it used to be compared to years past, so I can already hear you disagreeing with me on that one. So let's start by defining what a dollar actually is, and then we'll move on from there. Now, the United States went off the gold standard in 1971 during the Nixon administration, and the dollar became fiat money. So up to that time, gold or U.S. dollars were backed up with gold. Now your dollars are backed up by the full faith and confidence of the United States of America. So in other words, you get an IOU. So under fiat money, the U.S. was able to begin deficit spending since dollars could be printed with a promise to pay on demand, but not backed up by any tangible asset you could hold in your hand. Once the populace found that they could vote themselves gifts or entitlements and earmarks from the government, the result was 53% of Americans paid taxes to provide free stuff for the other 47 who don't pay taxes. So is this a great country or what? So getting back to the original question, what's a dollar worth today? So as I said earlier, it depends on your point of view. In 1964, I was making $2 an hour working at a glass factory in Southern Illinois. In 2016 dollars, my purchasing power would be $15.36 per hour. So in 2016, I would have to make $15.36 to have the same purchasing power that I had then. Therefore, it would seem that the dollar is worth less today than 52 years ago. Once again, it depends on your point of view. So let's look at a different perspective. If you go down to your local grocery store and buy a can of green beans, chances are it costs more than it did last year. Now, in that example, my dollar will buy less than it used to. But what about my cell phone? Can I get a better cell phone for the same money today that I could, say, 2 years ago? What about computers? A brand new computer is almost obsolete the minute you take it out of the box. But in most cases, you'll replace that computer, not because it's worn out, but because it's out of date. Now, when I was growing up, things were built to last. Now, due to the rapid advancements in technology, you can get a better product that does more for almost the same or less than the original product. People line up around the block for the first new iPad or iPhone. And when video cassette recorders first hit the market, they were $700 to $800. Today, the CD has sent them the way of the 8-track, and they're less than $50 in many stores. Sure seems like a dollar can buy more than it used to. Now, is your dollar worth more in Montana? Again, it depends on your perspective. A $10 shirt at a Montana Walmart would cost $10.90 at a store in California or New York because of the sales tax. Now, the same shirt might be of better value in states with no local or state sales tax. Therefore, in some cases, it depends on where you are when you pull that dollar out of your pocket as to how much purchasing power you actually have. Gas stations close to the freeway off-ramps often cost more per gallon than stations in town. So what determines the cost of a product to your consumer? Most people answer that question with whatever the market will bear. Well, there's a small amount of truth in that. My last haircut was around $18, yet if I wanted a haircut on Rodeo Drive in Los Angeles, I would be paying around $400. Not sure I'd pay that even if I could afford it. But nevertheless, the point is not what the dollar is worth, but what's the value of spending the dollar to you. Now, I don't ski or skateboard, therefore the price of those products is of no interest to me at all. They could be $1 each, and I would still not feel the need to purchase them. So how many of you hearing this have ever bought a CD to get one song? So I see many hands as you're driving along in your cars. Does that make any economic sense at all? In order for our dollar to buy more value, we make an emotional decision, and then we'll create a logical argument to support that decision. So one song, $12.95, 11 free. I like it. That's a really good deal. So here's the bottom line. When it positively, absolutely has to be there overnight, it costs more. When you care enough to send the very best, it costs more. Box seats cost more. Premium gas is more than regular. The large economy size saves in the long run, but has a higher upfront cost. The bottom line is not what the dollar is worth, but how valuable is what the dollar will buy worth to you. Now, if you don't see the value of the product or service for the price offered, you're not going to make that purchase. So in reality, the dollar is not really worth anything. It's nothing more than a piece of paper with some dead presidents printed on it. It's only a tool used to fill a personal desire, and therein is its true value. It fills a need you have at a price you justify in your own mind. What makes a dollar worth a dollar is you. Or to you is what you will purchase for you, what it will purchase for you. You and you alone determine if a dollar is really worth a dollar. And that's the podcast. If you missed any of my previous podcasts, you'll find them all on my YouTube channel or my website at smalltownmarketing.com, smalltownmarketing.com. Go about halfway down the homepage on the left side, and you'll find a link to the podcast page so you can catch up on any of my podcasts that you might have missed. So tune in each Saturday, and let's build successful businesses together.